Hello, hello, live. So, just checking that everything works as usual, but you can hear my voice. Okay, let me see. Yes, okay, you can hear me. Perfect. Here I have your messages. If you want to send me some messages live, I can see you. Okay, right. So, connecting today to speak about how to use the song Just Like a Kite with children 5 to 6, age 5 to 6. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump straight into the PDF that I shared with you. Okay, and in the PDF today, you've seen quite a few steps. Whenever you can, I would like to ask you if you are able to see the videos that I connected on the PDF, because I know that a person wrote me that they cannot actually watch the videos by clicking on the PDF. So I just want to know if you can actually do it. All right. So let's start with the first exercise. The first exercise is let's start from the very beginning. In this today, I am going to tell you basically that this group that you have seen in the video is always the same group. It's a group of children that have started music with me for the first time this year, and they have never done music before. So they are 5 at that point of the first video, the video with the hoops. They are 5, and yes, when they arrived to my classes, their musicality was not so developed. Usually when I teach children of that age, I can do quite complicated things because they have been coming since they were babies, so their musicality is very developed. Instead, in this situation, this group has started probably after 2 years of lockdown, having done very little music in school. So when they came to my classes, they couldn't sing in pitch, and their rhythmic skills as well, they're quite poor, I would say. Okay, not judging, but they were not accurate. Okay. So apart from a couple of children of a group, all the rest had a very low development of musicality. So for many months, I worked with Gordon's music learning theory, with flow movement. We worked a lot with parachute. We worked a lot with scarves. So we did all of this type of games, which usually I would do with children that are a bit younger. So I could basically bring the students into coordination, which is the last stage of the first part of what we call preparatory audiation in music learning theory. So, but at the same time, these children they were cognitive older, so they needed a bit of more challenges. They needed what we said yesterday. They needed to be challenged in a proper way. And just playing with a parachute or playing with the scarves was not enough to engage them the whole time, or at least that's what I felt. So I organized this type of games that were a bit more structured, using hoops or using other objects. And the activities that I showed you in the guide of today, it's an activity that comes with that has been created with that idea. Okay. So the children were walking around the room freely, and they were trying to stomp on the hoop, inside the hoop, when the music was suggesting the padam padam padam, you know the melody at this point, no? Pam 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 padam padam padam. So they were trying to coordinate consciously their movements. And it was quite a nice and interesting things to observe, because for the first time, these children were in coordination in an older stage of their general development. So they could really realize that something that we're doing was not so accurate. And that was one of the first time, because usually the students that are in coordinations in my sessions, they are a bit younger, so they don't have this type of awareness in their body. Okay, so in this video you can literally see them trying to stomp and coordinate the movements in the proper moment with a song. So that was a very, very interesting things to observe for me. And also it was quite fun for them. They loved it because they had to jump at the end of a song on the hoops, and since they were like 6 hoops and 8 children, they had to, you know, share the hoop sometimes at the end of a song. And it was fun for them to have a new friend every time that the song was repeated. So in that activities, as I said, children are definitely developing listening skills, but they are also developing, like using a lot of their executive functions and cognitive functions in general, right? So they have to be focused the whole time, so their attention is getting stimulated in this activity. And with this idea that they have to move around the room in what I call the raft, so they are free in the space to move, they have to really plan where to go, because they have to see how many children there are in one hoop or how many children are going towards the hoop. So there is a lot of planning in this type of exercise. And in the same time, when they do this type of things, children are developing their body awareness, and which is what we also call basically body image, okay, or body scheme, and the space-time organization skills. So they have to understand what distance there is from them to the next hoop, and how long it will take them to go from one place to the other. So those are all space-time organization skills, which are fundamental to develop a lot of more complicated cognitive, advanced or cognitive skills. And related regarding instead the body image and body scheme and the body awareness. When children are developing these type of things, they are working also on laterality, so the right and their left part of the body, which is connected not only to their perception of their own body, but is also connected to basically the ability of creating an image in their mind of themselves or their own body, and then they basically transpose that into the surrounding and into the objects that are in the environment. So understanding how their own body works also support their general mental representations. That is the mental representation of what they have surrounded them, okay? So this type of exercises, from my point of view, are very interesting because they don't only develop the musicality, but they work also on this type of skills, okay? So moving on to the next stage instead. So these were the step 1 and 2, okay? Place some hoops on the floor and let the kids move around and, you know, do the right steps in the right moment. I hope you can see me. Yeah, it's kind of stopped here. So let me just take the sound off so I can keep looking at that. Okay, perfect. Then in the second page of a PDF, there is step 3 and step 4. And these are the videos where the children are jumping into the hoops. So the activities now is much more structured, and also not only that, but also children are in front of the other ones playing at the moment, or jumping, but in front of the other, so they are very exposed. In the first part, when they walk around the room and they are free to explore, they, as I said yesterday, they kind of have a filter when they move. Actually, I talk about this in the first day of mini guide. I talk about the different reasons why we should not work always in circle or in lines, but also open up to different type of distributions of a group in the space. And working in a raft is an amazing way of having somebody that helps us to like hide hide ourselves, okay? So we can walk around, if we do body percussion, for example, we can do body percussion and nobody really cares about us, nobody really sees us. So it's like having a filter, okay? Therefore I can explore more, I can improvise more, I can feel a bit more confident when I do my movements, when I try and I practice, right? Instead, when I'm in front of all the others, even if I'm in a circle or in some lines, everybody can see me. So in my classes, I never ask the children to do this type of activities, to jump in front of others or play in front of others, as a first thing. I always ask them first to move around the room, dance freely, and practice with their own body and with their own skills, before I actually put them in this situation, which is a bit more complicated under an emotional point of view, okay? So these hoops are placed now in the room with in some lines, and the children that knows already very well the music, so they feel confident that they can do this game, they start jumping, okay, in the hoops in the right moment of a song. And they can also, do some body percussion between them, but that comes when they are already very able to coordinate. And in fact, is the PDF is an activity that I will propose to you tomorrow in the PDF for kids 6 and 7 years old. The video also goes ahead with the kids jumping with some drums. So in this way, they also have to try to coordinate not only the lower part of the body, but also the upper part of the body. And doing it with body percussion is super fun, of course, but also, playing a drum is much better. It makes much more noise. So they prefer to play some instruments at this point. So in the second video, you can see them jumping and then playing the drums or trying to coordinate. Not all of them has the same level of coordination already. And then at the end, they just hit the big drum all together. So in this exercise as well, they have to inhibit their impulses, because the music would move you also when it's not the time. So you have to think and plan, I'm not jumping now, I'm gonna jump when it's the moment to jump. And there is planning, of course, to be able to do this. And also in this type of activity, when they work parallel, they are really able to see what the other friend is doing. So not only you have part of your class that is observing you, but you also have another person that is doing the activity with you, or two people that are doing the activities with you. And if you're working with big groups, which can happen if you're working in nurseries or in schools, you can have up to 5 lines of children going ahead all together. And so this is a very good way also to manage a big group of children, because if you're working with 15, 20 students, you can divide the groups and do this type of activities. So they are always very engaged because it's their turn, they want to do it. Okay, when I work with groups like that, I always try to divide the group into 2 situations, in 2 parts. So there is kind of always one group that does something where the movement is a bit more free and explorative, and the other group instead is maybe doing something a bit more structured. Otherwise, having 20 kids moving at the same time in the same way can be very complicated. It's easier if you divide the group and give different tasks. Also at this age, they can definitely understand that they need to do different things. And if you're working in schools, you have usually a teacher assistant that is there with you. If you are an external teacher, if you are the main teacher of your class, I don't think you should have more than 15 kids. I think it really depends on the countries as well, but it should be like something like that. You can correct me here and give me some information about where you live. It would be interesting to know. So then in the next step, once they have done all of this type of work with their body and their coordination, and they know very well how to play and when to play, you can give them melodic instruments like piano or xylophones or bells or the chime bars. So whatever instruments that give you the possibility basically to play the chords of a song, not the melody, okay? The melody in this situation is still too complicated to play. Pam, 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 padam, padam, padam. It's still too difficult to play, right? So it's better to help the children playing the harmony of these songs. So in that sense, here I have my piano. If I am asking the kids to play this song, I would divide the notes that I give the students per instrument. So first of all, I divide the groups in smaller groups, and each group would play the notes of one chord. So if a song is bum bum, starts in do, of course, but you don't play this do, they need to wait. Bum bum bum, ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. They know that I have to play in that moment because they have jumped on those moments before. You give them the note, even so, si, re, or G, B, D, okay? And they can play ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum in that moment. So if you're playing the song, bum, 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 and they play ba-dum, 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 just the notes of a chord. Bum, 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 ba-bum, and this is do, do, do. So not only you're working on the rhythm here, but you're also introducing a little bit some concepts of notations. And you introduce them just simply singing what they're playing. You don't have to tell them you're playing sol, then you're playing si, then you're playing re. That's too much at this point. You can just say bum bum bum, sol sol sol, bum bum bum, do do do, bum bum bum, fa fa fa, bum ba da 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 dum ba da da dum, do. Okay. So you divide you basically create a group that plays sol, a group that plays do, a group that plays fa, and etc., depending on how many groups you have in your class. When you play these three notes of a chord, you can play them on different instruments. So somebody can be on the metallophone, somebody can be on the bar, somebody can be on the piano. You can create different ensembles. And the children enjoy a lot to move between those instruments. In the step number 6 of a PDF, instead I show you how I created this with just the same type of instrument, so melodic bars, you call them bars, xylophones and metallophones, and the children plays their chord for the whole song, and then they have to move onto a different instruments when they have to play a different chord. Okay, so one xylophone is set on G, on C, on sol, one xylophone is set on do, one xylophone is set on fa, and another one is set on of do again. So when they move between the instruments, not only they have to, they get to try different notes, so they hear a different sounds, but they also get to need to understand that their moment to play in the song is now different. Because if you're on the sol instrument, you're gonna play first, bum bum bum, ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. But once you have moved on to the second instrument, you're not gonna play first, you have to play second. So you have to wait, okay? And here as well, there is more planning, there is more understanding of what's happening in general in the song. So by moving in this way, they have a lot of fun because there is the challenge, again, the challenge here. They have a challenge where they have to run from one instrument to the next one and be there in time to start. So that's a very good exercise for organization and space-time organization skills. But also they have quite a lot of fun trying to understand where they have to play. They go first because, oh gosh, I was playing first earlier. No, now I have to play second. So it's quite interesting, this. At this point, maybe they don't play very accurately. Maybe they're not very precise when they're playing their bars, because of course they are running from one place to the other. They're moving between instruments. So it can be that some things are not very precise, but they're developing a lot of skills at the same time. And once they have done it with a lot of fun and with this type of game, you can just ask them, okay, now guys, we do it sitting down, everybody has their own instrument, and now we have to try to play all together. Okay, so the next step that I didn't put in the PDF, but I guess it's quite, logical that after having fun and moving a lot and trying different stuff, then it comes to the point in which we actually have to try to be a bit more precise musically. And that is also quite interesting because they have been working on unison and synchronization from the very first step, from the very first class. So now they can get to try this synchronization that they have experimented with their body onto their instruments. Okay, so I know that basically there is a very big delay from what I'm saying and what you are hearing, because I can see my live now on Facebook, and I guess it's almost 3 or 4 minutes later, unfortunately. So let me just have a look on the phone if it's still the same, or somehow is my computer that is very slow. Here we go. Let me hear. Yes, is the computer very slow? Perfect. So I'm not gonna look at the computer anymore. Do you have any questions related to this type of activity? Yes. Is the computer very slow? Do you have? Yeah, I would like to hear, or if you have any experience in something similar, this would be a very nice moment to share this together. Otherwise, I am just going to close now for today, and I will continue tomorrow, where we actually go to the older children that are going to do body percussion, proper body percussion exercises, and the children are going to play. You're gonna see each child playing the whole harmony on their own melodic instruments. So this song, by the way, I've done it also on the piano, okay? But as I say, children are playing the chords and singing at the same time. So they're developing quite a lot of coordination and independency between voice and fingers, which is a very good skill to develop if you want to become a musician. Okay, I think there are no questions. Thanks a lot, Berna. Thank you to be here today as well. Do you have any questions? Probably, I think that we are good to go. Yeah. Anyway, you can just ask me something and I will reply later. Okay. This, of course, it's good also for the people that maybe are watching the live later today. Okay. So thanks so much. See you tomorrow for the last PDF, and then sign up for the webinars. I'm going to put the two links here as well. Sign up for the webinars because they're going to be very, very interesting. Don't miss Pedro's one, and I hope you can participate in person because you can ask him many questions that otherwise, are just going to be lost on the internet. Instead, if you can be there and talk to him, that's going to be much better to understand the importance of having strategies to cope with difficult situations and conflicts that can arise in your classes, not only with the students, but also with colleagues, with the parents. So these are a whole set of skills that we can learn through nonviolent communication and through also the work that Pedro has done for many, many years working with circle music and groups. And then the day after, instead, there's going to be my webinar, which is about body music for children. And we're going to learn also one activity that you can bring into your classes. Okay? So, see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.